is a 1989 Miele WS5405 EC system commercial. And if you recognise this, this is Service Quartz's machine, or it was. I bought it off him. Yeah. However, it's 35 years old and it's very broken to a degree. I'll start off with the fact that there's no filter flap at the bottom. There should be one here. There's a filter door, and behind that filter door, once you kind of take it away, you've got this emergency release lever for the electronic door, and you've got this quite neat flap down here for your drain filter. We'll have a quick look at the programs then. So we're going to start here. 0 means off, which may confuse you because that says stop, but that is actually different. This is actually your rapid advance. I'll explain in a minute. Right, well, we've got 7 wash programs. We have cottons with pre-wash and without pre-wash, up to 95 degrees. Right. And the max load is up to 5 kilograms. We've also got 2 options as well. We've got this starch button here. On starch, once the dial gets to here, starch with the little pre-wash icon. If you select starch, basically after the intermediate spin after the 4th rinse, it will advance to there and come to a complete stop, waiting for you to continue the cycle. So what you do then is you get your starch powder, which you would have done in a day, put it into the pre-wash compartment of the drawer, and then deselect the button, and it will resume the cycle, taking in the starch and performing the starch rinse and then the final spin. Then we've got this, which is rinse, hold, no spin. And I have no idea why they just didn't write no spin, because all it does is after the final rinse, it will go into final spin and not do a spin. Yeah, it will go immediately onto spin and all the way to drain and then finish. So why call it rinse hold? It's bizarre. Anyway, there's something else as well with this machine, which is a little bit bizarre. You have a hot and cold feed to this machine, right? Now, what it states in the manual is if you use hot at 70 degrees, you're going to get certain timings. But hot only fills up on the main wash with programs with a pre-wash, and only fills up with hot just on the main wash part only. If you select without a pre-wash, it will start the main wash and fill directly with cold. Unless you select off on the temperature, in which case it will take cold water then on the main wash of the pre-wash, or without. If you select 20, it will still fill up with hot. So, max load is 5 kilo. What are the timings? It's a little bizarre, because in the manual it states it will take 50 minutes at 40 degrees, 56 minutes at 60 degrees, and around 69 minutes at 95 degrees. But then it also states in little writing, all depending on the electrical connection. So this machine naturally comes in 2 configurations. It's got the Australian 240 volt 5.2 kilowatt rating, or the UK 415 volt 3-phase 6.2 kilowatt heater. And this has a 5.2 kilowatt 25 amp single phase 240 volt configuration. Except I've unplugged one of the heaters, so now it only runs on 2.6 kilowatts instead. So I can run it on a 13 amp plug. Right, what are the actual timings then? Long. Well, they are on cartons anyway. Yeah, you select cartons, 60 takes around 85-90 minutes. I'm going to explain my gripe a little bit late at the end of this review, so stick around. Also, if you're enjoying this video so far, don't forget to give me a like, don't forget to comment down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts about this machine. Right. Minimum iron, max load 1.5 kilos. It still washes with a low level, just like the cottons, but we'll only do 3 rinses instead of 5, and we'll also do no intermediate spins. The final spin length for the cottons is 6 minutes at 1000 RPM. The final spin length for minimum iron is 60 seconds. So there is a true difference there. You can obviously have it with a pre-wash or without a pre-wash, and max temperature is up to 95. Timings wise, again, it's stating around 54 minutes at 95 degrees with a pre-wash, 48 minutes at 60 degrees with a pre-wash, or 40 minutes at 40 degrees with a pre-wash. It's not bad, I suppose. Of course, you can have it without a pre-wash. Pre-wash adds on 10 minutes. But, of course, if you're taking hot water in on the main wash, it's going to then lessen that time for heating. So, yeah, swings and roundabouts, I suppose. Then you got synthetics. Not entirely sure why it's called synthetics. Miele have always done that, and then just they write down delicates in the manual. And there's a little bit of an odd thing as well. It's saying delicates to run without a pre-wash at 30. And this is where it's going to get a little bit interesting. It says to run at 30, and at the 5.2 kilowatt heater rating, it's going to take 30 minutes to complete. It does 3 rinses, high wash level, high wash water level, 3 high water level rinses, no intermediate spins, and it's going to do a final spin of 60 seconds. If you want to do curtains though, you have to select with a pre-wash, and it's saying at 30 degrees. Do not select above 30 degrees, which is a little bit baffling. In fact, Delicates doesn't really state what the max temperature is. It just seems to go 30 degrees. However, I do believe this can get to 40. And I'll tell you why. I believe this machine has a protection stat for the delicates and the woolens, and it's set at 40 degrees. So you can select 40 degrees on delicates. If you select any higher, it won't do any higher. It will just hit 40, trigger it, and then go right onwards with the main wash and stop heating. For delicates, max load 1 kilo. Or if you were doing curtains, no more than 2 curtains. So sow curtains then. Woolens, max load again 1 kilo. It runs again with a high wash water level, high rinses, no intermediate spins, but the final spin is 3 minutes long. At 40 degrees, it takes 35 minutes. On my 240 volt, it takes 40 minutes. So about 5 minutes extra, which isn't too bad. It does a static heat, so there's no tumbling whilst it's heating. Once it heats 240, it will then advance, it will then start tumbling. It does obviously gentle tumbles for the wool action, so it doesn't damage wool. Right. I'm just going to quickly show you what this does. Stop. If we plug it in, let's say we start the cycle now. it will start automatically filling and start the pre-wash. However, if we want to start skipping the cycle, we can. Select stop and let that dial advance, and then you can turn it back on when you get to the stage you want. In which case, you can skip the pre-wash and go on the main wash. Though we don't actually have to do that because we have that. Let's say you want to do some rinses only. Let's start. That'll run all the rinses from there on. Let's say you want to do fabric softener only. Let it run past, just past that rinse there, then press it on. And then it will advance. So if I press starch, watch. So this is a quick demonstration of the starch button. So we're just draining after the intermediate spin. It's going to advance in a second. There you go. Then a quick slight fill, and then obviously realise it's switched off. Then, once you've added your starch to the pre-wash compartment of the drawer, then you just deselect the button and it fills up with the starch. Anyway, let's say you want to do spin only, turn to stop, and then turn it on to spin. And then that will just run the spin cycle for whatever fabric you're spinning. But you can do this on any program you want. So you can either do it on cottons, for example, or minimum iron, or synthetics, or wool. It doesn't matter. If you want to turn off the machine at any point, to pause it, or there's an emergency, turn to 0, and that just turns it off. But stop will always advance the dial. There you go. Right. Also, this door says drain on it, but if I open the door and push and hold, it doesn't actually do anything. What that actually means is if it's got water in and it's too high to unlock the door, what it'll do is if you press and hold that button, it'll drain out the water and then unlock the door. Right, so to open the drawer, you take that off because it's snapped, unfortunately. And we open the drawer, which also needs cleaning, and looks like we've got leftover detergent. Right, anyway, we've got our fabric softener compartment here. Usually you can just pour it through these holes, they're big enough. That is your siphon, which obviously needs cleaning when you clean the machine. This is your water hardness indicator reminder. It doesn't do anything. It just, you turn it to wherever, like 1, 2, 3, or 4, according to the German scale thing, and it's just there to remind you how hard the water is. Then we've also got this little red tab. Push that down, you can pull the whole drawer out. I want to give this out of 10 then. Well, I said before we went into doing the cycle, I had a big issue with it. The machine actually completed that whole 60-degree cycle with a pre-wash in a little more than what it stated in the manual. The manual stated around 40-ish minutes. It's taken around 50-ish minutes, which isn't bad, don't get me wrong, but if you were to run this on the domestic machine right next to it, it wouldn't take that much longer. In fact, Cotton 60 on the short cycle on the domestic Miele is actually shorter than running 60 on this. On Cotton 60 without a pre-wash. And that is because, of course, the domesticated version takes in hot water just on the main wash, whereas this seems to refuse to do it and takes in only cold. The other problem is adjustments to the programming. There's hardly any between this and the domestic. The cool down section, i.e. the first rinse on the cotton cycle / cool down, is actually shorter than the domestic version. The final spin phases are also shorter. This, for example, only takes 60 seconds to do the final spin. However, the final spin on the domestic one will take a few minutes as it actually repeats the bursts over and over again. Yeah. There is some changes between this commercial machine over domestic. However, realistically, there isn't any. It's not like the later versions of this where they were much shorter than the domestic version. Just take like the modern PWM and the W1. You cannot replicate the Cotton 60 cycle in any way on the W1. You can't select Cotton 60, for example, press short and then go, oh yeah, it's exactly the same cycle. It just doesn't happen. Same with the old Navitronic and the little giant machines. They were no different. You know, you could have Cotton 60 in 49 minutes on the professional, whereas Cotton 60 short still took an hour 10 or so to do. You can't replicate it, but this is longer than this on short. In fact, with a pre-wash, the domestic version isn't that much longer. Yeah. And that's my problem with it. I'm sure with the two heaters plugged in, it is going to be much shorter, but the actual physical programming side of it is no different. The rinses are no different either. The same length, unlike the later versions. So like go back to the Navitronic and the Little Giant. The Navitronic takes twice as long on the rinse as the Little Giant version. See what I mean? Them things. It's them things that make a commercial machine fast, and they've not done anything with it. Just made it more simple to use, I suppose. Also, no mechanical dial. In fact, that's the only thing. There's no mechanical dial. You set the program, and then you set your temperature, and you press start, which is quite good. I mean, technically there's a program, there is a mechanical dial, it's right here, but it obviously runs off what is being told from this. So, you know. So, other things as well, the motor bearings are quite noisy, the drum spider is on its way out. Obviously that's snapped off, which isn't very good. And the thing is missing. Well, I'm going to give this out of 10 then. It's disappointing. It's a 6 out of 10, just like the PWM 507. Thanks for watching this review. I don't know if I've done one yet, but I'm going to do a review of this if I haven't, which is a lot more interesting. Don't forget to give us a like. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done already. Don't forget leave me a comment down below if you enjoyed this video, if you like this machine. If you don't like it, let me know. What are your thoughts about it? And I'll see you in another review, so bye for now.